I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into the gritty world of those amazing mafia wives. It's a terrific book written by Dr. K-lee Starland. Discover the harrowing tales of mafia wives who fought against human trafficking within their own crime families during the 1950s. Witness their daring rescues and the underground battles against corruption and greed in an enthralling narrative of survival and justice. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. We ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her remarkable book. The links are below this interview. K-lee, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well. How did you find out about the daring deeds of these mafia wives in the first place?
Well, I worked many years with NGOs, assisting them to raise the status and the dignity of women in very strong patriarchal societies. That's the macro. On the micro side, I turned on the movie The Godfather. And the way that it came about is at the very last scene, they show the wife at the stove, and she's looking across into the office where her husband is becoming the new Don of the family. And it occurred to me, what if this woman had a secret agenda? What could that look like? I decided that could be amazing.
Yeah. Exactly. They obviously have a front row seat to all that unfolds, but this is a true story, right? Of these mafia wives?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's a novel. The only part that's true are the situations that the trafficked girls find themselves in.
Okay, got you. Well, kudos to you, because I thought it was a true story that was novelized. I didn't realize that these mafia wives didn't necessarily exist. So this is very creative on your part, and it's a great vehicle to tell the story of these women who are trafficked, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I made it, I'm sorry. I made it earlier in the century because human trafficking, or the sex trafficking of girls, is very scary to a lot of people, especially today. So I put it all in the early part of the century so they wouldn't close the book.
Yeah, well,
I didn't want to scare
them. You did a great job for sure. And also it works in the 1950s because that's when our society was very patriarchal as well. I mean, women had a very defined role in life, and it wasn't necessarily equal or the same as that held by men. Let's give the folks an overview of what your book is about, those amazing mafia wives.
The short version is there are 5 women who married into the mafia, and they got together and they do their best to rescue as many girls as possible that their husbands are trafficking in for sale.
And this is not an easy feat, no doubt, because their husbands are dangerous men, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Danger at every corner.
Absolutely. Tell us about the challenges the women face in rescuing these women.
Well, like you just mentioned, the most dangerous is doing it without their husbands finding out. Another challenge they had is there were no federal laws back then. And so the girls that were rescued, if they were caught by the police, they went to jail. Or they were sent back to their countries, if they were foreigners, where they were re-victimized. So once they're in jail and deemed prostitutes, they're re-victimized again. So that was part of I wanted to bring into the book, where they were working on trying to get federal laws to help with this situation.
And it's still a terrible situation for women. I mean, I think perhaps today sex trafficking is worse than it's ever been, right?
It used to be that the sale of drugs was the number one illegal money maker in this country.
Mhm.
It is now human trafficking.
Amazing. Amazing. And it's happening right under the noses of law enforcement and other officials that are choosing to look the other way. Tell us a little bit about your work. I know you're a PhD and you've worked a lot on women's issues. Tell us about your background.
Well, that was quite a while ago, but I
Mhm.
worked with NGOs in Southeast Asia and some countries in Africa. And what we did uh, is develop programs that I understand are still being used in the school to teach about anti-violence.
Mhm.
These boys that grow up, it's a natural thing. I
Mhm.
mean, you abuse women, that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's part. And so it's trying to re-educate the men as well as lift up the women.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Not an easy task.
Not an easy task, but very noble work, and noble works are rarely easy to achieve, that's for sure. Now, you have another book out as well. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, it's called Trouble Rumbles at Dawn.
Okay.
And it is just a fun murder mystery that takes place in West Texas. And there are two murders, and it deals with a cartel. One, mur one murder that they have to solve is in the town of Indigo Flats. The other murder is the daughter, the niece of the head of the Mexican cartel. So it brings them together. And this woman detective has to try and solve these within a limited amount of time.
Sounds great. Sounds like a great story. Sounds like a great TV series. In fact, I was going to actually ask you about Mafia Wives. Have you envisioned that perhaps as a movie or a series, perhaps?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a movie would be fantastic, don't you?
Yeah. I
I think
do.
it
I
would just
do. It
be,
was born
I
from the
think it'd
movies,
be
like you
so much
said.
fun.
You were watching The Godfather. You saw the mafia wife looking at her husband and saying, I wonder what she knows. I wonder what she could do. So it was born out of a movie, a top one, The Godfather. So I think this would be a terrific film for sure. There's lots of action, a lot of great, strong female roles in this, danger lurking in every corner. So I think it's got all of the ingredients that Hollywood is looking for sure.
Thank you. I totally agree.
So are these, do you have more books out? These are your only two, not only, but are these your two books or you have more coming? Or tell us a little bit about your writing career.
These are the two that have been published. I'm
Mhm.
currently working on another one. I'm actually rewriting it. I wrote it a while ago and I'm rewriting it better.
Mhm.
It's a very subtle trafficking book.
Mhm.
Now, we think of trafficking as linear. The trafficker picks up the girl, sells it to the pimp, and they go into prostitution. Very linear,
Mhm.
which it is. It can be. But this one that I'm writing, the the man they call Daddy, he goes by a lot of names. He's kind of hooked on cocaine,
Mhm.
and he also misses a girl that he used to have and is looking for her twin. So he finds her twin in an orphanage, and it's called The Moment of Clarity. And he names the girl in the orphanage Clarity.
Great.
And it's her story of living through the scamming world of the underneath into his prostitution ring and how that all comes about.
Awesome. That sounds terrific. I love it. I like also how it comes full circle too. It sounds great. What do you hope readers take away from those amazing mafia wives?
Um, I would like to see some community action.
Mhm.
It happens in our community. It happens right in our neighborhoods.
Mhm.
It's not out there somewhere. And so if we could have more community involvement on picking up these people, picking up the girls, there's more and more places that are taking these trafficked girls and helping to rehabilitate them.
Mm.
But if the neighborhoods and the police could work together, find these houses, find these girls, and get them to these places where they stand a chance of a decent life.
Yeah.
And rest those other guys.
Yeah. I don't know what the priority of law enforcement is nowadays, but certainly I don't think sex trafficked people or human trafficked people are high on their agenda. That unfortunately, right?
No, ICE does what it can, and they've set up stings and stuff, but it's only once in a while you'll see it in the news. Oh, ICE got 500 traffickers and
Right.
60 girls.
Yeah.
How often do you see that? This
Right.
happens every day, 24 hours.
Exactly. I know it's a big problem, and like we said, it's a growing problem, and like you said, it's displaced drug trafficking as a means of profit for the underworld. So something needs to be done. But we're glad you're shining a light on the issue. The name of the book we're talking about today is Those Amazing Mafia Wives. It's written by K-lee Starland. It is a story of a group of mafia wives who fight against human trafficking within their own crime families in the 1950s. It is an amazing adventure, and like we said, it kind of shines the spotlight on the troubles with prostitution, sex work, and human trafficking. K-lee, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. I had a wonderful time.
I had a great time talking to you as well. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.